I have a lot of times when I'm showing older people, they really like to think about back in the day. You know, I had one lady who, her favorite comment was, well, this will tell you how old I am, and then she'd go into a little spiel. So when we walked into some of the older homes, I said, oh, quick quiz, what is this countertop? And she was like, it's Harvest Gold. I mean, you know, she knew. And then, you know, I'd say, and what is its counterpart? And it's avocado green, you know. So you can always kind of bond as you're talking with these people and deciding, helping them decide what they want. Other things that you can look for are the baseboards. You know, do you have a thin line or has it been upgraded? You have upgraded molding down there. Always look at the carpet. It's not really something they're going to pay much attention to. I always take off my shoes when I enter a property for several reasons. One is I'm showing respect into their house, whether they have clean carpet and stuff or not. I always take off my shoes because that does several things. One, I can feel the carpet. I can tell if it's got an upgraded pad. I can tell generally a lot better about what the grade of the carpet is. Is it your standard builder grade, or is there definitely some upgrading that's been done? And I also don't want to get any dirt and stuff on my shoes. And if I don't say anything, a lot of the times my clients notice. And they'll say, oh, do we need to take off our shoes? And it's like, oh, yeah, I don't tell them what to do, but I say, oh, that would be really nice, you know, because you can tell that they've just had the carpets cleaned. You can tell if there's stains. A lot of people are sensitive to pets. It's pretty easy to look at that carpet real quick and tell if there have been pets there, and you can make a comment about that, if it's been worn or not. Things that I look at are, let's see, we talked about the lighting fixtures, we talked about the carpet. I'm trying to think about in the living room. Okay, you've got raised ceilings. A lot of them, times you have the coffered ceilings, especially if you're in Stylecraft home or something like that, and you see your typical cracking along there. A lot of that is just cosmetic. But I can say there's some cosmetic cracking here that just needs to be touched up. We might want to have it looked at, but it's probably okay. I just want to point that out because that tends to be a recurring event, something that you're going to have to constantly maintain. Oh, if you're in the kitchen, again, not an inspector, not trying to be an inspector, but I always tend to look at the dishwasher, especially if I'm in an older home, because you can easily see if that's been rusted out or not, and it's going to have to be replaced. Because you can say, look, this is something we're probably going to want to ask for on our inspection report if you like this house. Now, I give the amount of information that I give, I always try to give basic information, but I'll look a little bit harder if it seems like it's something that they really, really like. Always going to the windows. I'm casually looking at the windows. Do I see major crescent moon cracks around the windows? Is this something I need to point out? When you're looking at the windows, are the seals broken in the majority of the rooms? Are they single pane or double pane? Things like that that you can point out that they wouldn't normally think about. Are they low E? Let's say we're in new construction. Are they low E windows? So they're going to be a lot more energy efficient. That sort of thing. Does anybody have any particular questions about any rooms? Like if I'm in a particular room, what am I going to look for? What am I going to point out? Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about then is what I want you to do is I want you to learn when you go into each homes, what are standard features and what are upgrades. And I'm talking about, like, let's say we're going into Frayling or Stylecraft or you know, Glenn Thomas, kind of our middle of the run properties. We can say, what would you normally expect to find in a house? And then what is a unique thing that you wouldn't normally expect that this house has, or that for the price this house doesn't have? A perfect example would be, let's say we walk into a $135,000 Stylecraft house. You know, I'm looking at the windows. Do I have my mini blinds, or are they upgraded to 2-inch faux wood? That's something that I would point out. That's about a $2,500 upgrade. I don't go, hey, that's a $2,500 upgrade, but I say, oh, look, this has already been taken care of. Isn't that nice? Or if they're asking a lot more money and I'm just looking at the price, I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't really have that feature that last one has. Look, you still have to take care of the windows here. Looking at the flooring, am I linoleum or am I tile? And is it in all the wet areas or just in the kitchen? Where have the people skimped and not spent the money, and where have they kind of gone overboard and it looks a lot nicer? Because that's really what's comparing the apples to apples for the different buyers. It's like, okay, you've got these homes. This one has your tile. This one's linoleum. This tile is a nicer little upgrade. And it's just mentioning those light facts. Now, I always, whenever somebody has told me what they're looking for, if the house has it or doesn't have it, I look in every house for the things that they mentioned. Okay? And I always tell them, oh look, here's your jacuzzi tub. There's your vanity. Oh no, but the cabinets aren't black, they're white. Do you want to go to the next house? You know, is that important? Because that's something you told me was that you really wanted black cabinets. Things like that. Does that make sense? Okay, when I'm going to the property and I'm looking at the backyard, several things I want to see are you have these nice decks in the back. Okay, the decks, they're generally added on a lot of the times now, especially if I'm in my lower end homes. Are they a flat roof? Because if they're a flat roof and they don't have any grade, if they don't have any grade to them, then when it rains, that water's going to stay there. That water's going to leak back in towards the house. So you want to kind of look at that and see if that might be an issue. The biggest thing that I always look at when they're looking at the house is how's the grading and drainage. When I'm in the backyard, if a lot of the homes in Williams Creek or the ones that are right over here, like near Pickett and that area, a lot of them were not really graded correctly, and so you'll even look if it's been raining, if they had sprinkler systems, the sprinkler systems have been on. Go out in the backyard and I look and I say, okay, look, see this backyard? The fence is higher than the house, and that means that when it rains, where's all the water going to go? It's going to go towards the house, into the house. That can be an issue. When I'm walking in the backyard and when I'm in the garage, I look for two things, for the same thing. Does anybody know what that is? Because you can't always count on realtors to have it or not have the correct information there. So when I'm walking around in the backyard or when I'm in the garage, I'm looking for sprinklers. So I can point out that this house has or doesn't have a sprinkler system. That's something else that you look at.
What do you find in the garage that tells you there's a sprinkler system?
The controls usually. But in the older homes, it's not always there. Sometimes it's outside, and that's why you have to check for the sprinkler heads as well. Another thing too, when you're driving up to the house, you can see as well, just like the water can run forward. You know, you see these driveways where you go down to get into your house. You talk about the presence of potentially water in your garage for the same reason. So that's something that you're looking at both in the front and in the back of your home. I always look for wood rot, especially if they're really, really interested in the home, and that's something else that I point out. Normally you'll find it around the chimney first because they haven't done flashing correctly. It hasn't been flashed appropriately.